Live. Today we're going to talk about something for Year 3. Next week's timetable on Classroom Secrets is going to feature something about subtracting money. And I wanted to show you something that you could do over the course of the week, rather than as one specific set lesson, that will help children with subtracting money in a kind of similar to a real life scenario as to when you would need these kinds of skills. So what I have set up here is just a basic menu for children to select from, which you could do at home with anything that you happen to have that they're going to have for breakfast each day or for lunch each day. So if you come and have a little look at what's on this menu, you'll see that we have things that are just like cereal at £1.25, milk 50 pence, fruit juice 75 pence, toast 49 pence and jam 30 pence. Obviously adjust it and adapt it for whatever you actually have available. And what I would encourage people to try doing so that children have this that they can come back to every day is to set children a budget that they can spend. So you might decide, I'm going to start with £20, or you might set any kind of budget you want and work on numbers that you feel are going to be useful for your children to actually try subtracting. So as an example, if I tell the child they're going to have £20 to spend throughout the week, you could put onto your menu, mine's really basic, but you could add some things if you've got things that are kind of like little treats for children, particular cereal bars that they really love, or particular cereals that they really love. You could price them up at different amounts so they could decide whether to spend all of their money on the Monday or whether they're going to decide that they're going to treat themselves on the Friday. So let's say they started with, for example, £20 as their budget. If you've got the money and coins, or if you've got some money and coins that they can work with practically, then that's really great. If not, I'd suggest just giving them a card. I'm not going to show my actual bank card on this video, but just give them a card and say that that's going to be their bank card for the week. It has however much money on it, so it has £20 loaded onto it. Every time they buy some breakfast that week, they're going to need to subtract from it because it's going to come out of their bank account. So they're almost kind of keeping a paper-based transaction or summary of what they've actually spent throughout the week. So if this morning I decide I'm going to have a bowl of cereal, then I will need to subtract £1.25 from my £20 that I started with. But if I want milk as well, then I'm going to need to subtract another 50 pence. Now, children may decide they're going to do this in their heads. You're going to have to obviously check their answers as they go. They may decide that they're going to use column subtraction. If you would like to see more about how to use column subtraction with money, there is a video tutorial available on CS Kids, which hopefully someone's going to share in the comments on this live video if they haven't already. But there's a video tutorial done by Aaron from Classroom Secrets who will show you how to actually complete column subtraction with money, because inevitably you're going to find some children are going to find this harder than others, because certainly here we'd have 0 take away 5, here we'd have 0 take away 2, here we'd have 0 take away 1, and they're going to need to know that actually there's going to be exchanges taking place, so can they do that, but then they're going to need to exchange again, and so on. There are different ways of doing this. I'm not going to show through the whole thing because the video tutorial is going to do that for me. But I would encourage that you do try and set a kind of menu with pricing, and there's ways you can make this easier or harder for other year groups. So these kinds of numbers are probably quite suitable for a Year 3 child or maybe even a Year 2 child. But you may decide that what you're going to do is make it harder for higher year groups. So if you're someone who is going to actually prepare the breakfast for children, add them a 10% service charge for that actual activity. So rather than milk costing 50 pence, they're going to need to work out what 10% of that is and add it onto the total. 10% of 50 pence is 5 pence, so it's going to be 55p rather than 50, and then they can decide for themselves whether they would like to use that service or get their own breakfast. So that'll work in terms of making it a little bit more challenging. If you want to simplify it, you could decide that for children who are younger or who are struggling with this, you might just give them £1 to spend, make everything nice round easy numbers, so everything's 10 pence or 20 pence, so that it's something a little bit more straightforward to do rather than making life slightly difficult for children. Okay, so that's basically the summary of the idea. It's a really simple concept. You can relate it in many different ways. You could decide you're going to set it for lunch or for whatever else. Give children a budget that they're going to work on. Give them a total to work to, so that after each day they have to work out their new total, so that they know, okay, I have £8.75 left. I need to be careful about what I spend for the rest of the week so that I can make sure that I have cereal or breakfast or whatever it is for the entirety of the week. It's something that relates to real life because every day we have to work on a budget. Everyone does this if they're going out, if you're going shopping, if you're working out what your costs are going to be on a menu or whatever else. It just relates it to a real life scenario. Hopefully that's going to prove helpful to some people, and it's just a really simple way, requires very little resources to get subtraction of money into every day of children's working rather than a one-off lesson. That's all from me on this. Thanks.